We're going to take a look right now at a ZEBCO Bullet. These have been out for quite a while now. They're real top of the line reel. They work really good. But this cone, that's spinner cone on the top here, just gets to where the dadgum thing will not come off. I mean, you couldn't get it off with the biggest pair of channel locks made. I've tried. And so, in looking at it, it turns out all you really need to do, I'll try to get this spun around where it'll hold still, is right here on top. You see that where I've got a little dot of liquid on there? Well, that liquid is good old liquid wrench. Get a little in the cap and put it on a Q-tip with that thing straight up and down. Put some liquid wrench right there. You probably only need to do this one time. Let it soak in for several minutes, and then you can clamp this handle in a vise. I've got a vise here. You can clamp the handle in a vise and get a good grip on this spinner cone, and it'll go ahead and come off of there. And I don't care how much trouble you've had and forced and fooled with it, maybe give up. That's what you need to do to get this off, and then it'll come right off each time. At that point, you're going to have, probably do this one-handed, but it will come off. Rats, hold on. Okay, it will come off, and it'll just spin right off of there, and you'll have no trouble with it. And then once you've done that, you've accomplished most of what you need to do for the future, because you're not going to have it stick on there for you in the future. Something about these dissimilar metals just made these things want to stick. They kind of electrically go together because they were dissimilar metals. So once you got that thing off of there and you go through the procedure, it tells you about which way to turn this spool to get it off. And it tells you there to turn the drag all the way a particular direction, and then rotate that spool and get your line spool off of there. I've already got it off here. And then you can get to these two holes. And these two little holes here they have to be, there's screws down those holes that have to be removed. They're Phillips head screws. And again, you need to turn the drag in a particular direction to clear it back away from one of the holes so you can get the screwdriver down in there. And the trouble is you cannot get the back off of this reel to grease and oil it unless you do this. It's a really bad design. And in those holes is a couple of screws like this right here. They're a long screw that's threaded, and it's got a very small Phillips head screw on this end. There you see. Well, you don't want to mess them up, and it turns out most of the time they're so tight in there you can't get them out. I guess the people at the factory were using an electric screwdriver to ram them down into the plastic, and that was just a bad idea. They're almost impossible to get out, and you're probably going to tear the screw up if you're messing with it too much. If you're using a screwdriver, make sure it's a new screwdriver that's got a new perfect tip on it. And I was using these Phillips by Craftsman, these old American-made ones. But take a magnifier glass and look at that tip, and don't you put one in there that doesn't have a perfect tip on it. Even these were having trouble. Those 1 out of 3 of my reels, I could get out okay. The other 2 not. So the screws are screwed into plastic, and it will just kind of grow together. Maybe they're cross-threaded a little in some of them. I don't know. It kind of grow together and you can't get them out of there. So the trick I use to get them out is take a high quality jeweler screwdriver that has a very good tip on it. I don't know if I'm going to get that in focus, but anyway, it's got a very good tip on it, made to match those screws. And you put it down in there, and you have your hand above on this to hold it straight. And then while one hand is holding that in there tight, you use these, which perfectly grip the jeweler screwdriver, and you can make a very accurate turn while your finger one finger is pushing down on this and holding it good and snug, and the other one's turning this, and sure enough, you'll be able to break them loose. I'll be able to break them loose without tearing the heads on the screws up. Now, when all this stuff goes back together, you want to put a drop of silicone reel oil. Doesn't have to be this brand, but some kind of silicone reel oil, not regular old oil, but silicone, so it won't damage the plastic it's screwing into. And put some on this top screw right here, which will go into the cone right here. Put some oil on that, and then put some oil on the end of these screws right here that you're going to be putting in to that body of the back. This is the back with the button on it, you see, and they're going to screw right in there. Put some of that oil down inside of these holes here. There's one on each side, and screw them in all the way. It'll go all the way to where all the threads are in there. Screw them in all the way on both sides, making sure they're all cleaned out and the threads are good. And then you'll know when you put it back together, it'll go together easy, and you'll take apart easy next time you need to clean the reel. Or these things will be stuck in here in a nightmare, or this cone will be stuck onto these threads here, which is a nightmare. But that's mostly all you need to do to service this thing, because you really do need to get in here and service it. It has the most incredible gears you've ever seen. No ZEBCO's ever had this tough gears in this thing. It really is worth keeping running. Here I'm using the red Quantum hot sauce grease, synthetic grease, as well mostly the Quantum red synthetic oil. In a few places I was using that clear silicone oil. There is instructions on how to do this without Fishing 13's YouTube page, and he talks about getting all of these bearings well lubricated on both sides. And he mentions too, when you take this cover screw off, there's another retaining screw in there that's brass. You don't want that tightened up real tight, or it'll put too much side load pressure on those ball bearings. They're not roller bearings, so you don't want to tighten them too much. You want to make sure that inner brass screw is not loading up too much in this direction. And it'll all go back together and work like a brand new one. And there's one problem you can't ever solve, which is on these cones. You're going to get, if I can zoom in on it, right here by my thumb, you're going to get a cut. You can see it there. Your line is going to cut this very hard metal cone. You just got to spend the $35–40 and get a new one. There's not much. I haven't come up with a solution for that, but that's essentially the point this cone's at. It needs to be replaced right now. Sometimes these little roller bearings do not get, these pickup bearings do not get thrown out. That needs to have a little silicone oil below them, make them move good, and put some silicone oil in the back of those bearing caps there and spin them around. Make sure they're all spinning really good every time you service them. So that's it on the ZEBCO Bullet. The most incredible reel ever, that's cantankerous and very hard to work on and not exactly well designed. Oh, did I say that yes, the rubber covers on the button are going to split too, and you'll eventually have to buy a whole new back piece because they shouldn't use rubber back here on this.